G'day guys, welcome to today's tutorial. Today we are talking about the Smith machine squat. Right. If you don't know how to squat, okay, and you do not know how to control your body weight all the way down, pause and then drive all the way up whilst keeping an upright torso and executing that lift to absolute perfection, I would strongly suggest that you go and learn how to use a barbell and control your body weight first before you jumping into a Smith machine squat, because of the mechanics of it all and the way this is. It's going to promote that you don't learn how to create hip stability, and as such you're going to blow these legs up, or you're going to well, yeah, you'll blow these legs up, you'll get dive straight into those quads. But our Smith machine squat is very similar to our other machine squats. So things like a pendulum squat, a hack squat, okay, that you're setting up with potentially a narrower stance. You're not having to control your eccentric portions, and as such you're pretty much isolating these quads in order to stimulate them, grow and blow them up. So again, that's my rant about Smith machine squats. They shouldn't be your first point of call. You should learn the basic fundamentals first, is how to manipulate your body in time and space before you then go ahead and start relying on machines. That being said, the Smith machine squat is actually a fantastic exercise when used correctly, and that correctly application is very much used to dive into those quads and really blow them up, get them going, because you can. Also, the great thing about this is a few things. One, obviously you can bail out at just about any point with either the hooks or the resting points, but also its range of motion. Okay, so with this, with our free weighted exercise, we're probably not going to be able to pretty much get our backside, or the old saying, arse to grass, as much as you can with the Smith machine squat. Right, you are going to get your hips as close to your ankles as you possibly can, and that is the benefit, is that you're taking these long quads that potentially don't go through that full range. You expose them to that, and we know that the longer the stretch with our muscles, the weaker they are, and as a result of that, that's where our most damage and most growth potentially can come. Damage is a poor word. Most stimulus, stimulus isn't the right word either. We're most vulnerable to hypertrophy. There you go, great way to put it. All right, so how do we set this up? Well, we set this up exactly how we would with any other of our squat exercises. Okay, we're going to be pulling our shoulder blades back and down, and we're going to kind of counterlever off this bar traveling up and down. Great thing about this bar traveling up and down is because we don't need to worry too much about stability. We do, but we don't. We can really, I know I've said this before, we can really isolate the quads. That's not what I wanted to say. I've lost my train of thought. Give me 2 seconds, we'll come back to it. So we're going to set this up just like we would a normal squat. We're actually going to push our feet slightly forward. This is where people get cause issues, is that they stand under like they're going to do a normal squat and they can't get that full range, and the mechanics of it doesn't work. Okay, so we're actually going to push our feet further forward. Now, I'm going to face you like this. However, if you are doing this exercise, I would much prefer you not face this way. I'd rather you be able to roll the hooks forward and down, because it's just a far easier process than having to look for extension and trying to find the hooks and making sure that those hooks are on. Plus, if you're fortunate enough there's a mirror, you can look whether or not the hooks have hooked on, and you safely exit. Right, so starting up, we're going to screw our feet into the ground. For those who don't know about these 3 points of contact and how the weight should be blowing out the sides of your feet, go and watch my squat tutorial video. It goes into absolute detail about what we should be doing with our hips, our knees and our ankles in order to set up the lower portion, what we should be doing with our back. Okay, so we're going to quickly run through it now, but for a more in-depth, detailed analysis, by all means go ahead and watch that. We're going to create 3 points of contact. The 3 points of contact are in line with our big toe and our pinky toe. If we rock right back on our heels, that's point 3. Okay, we're going to screw our feet in. It's going to feel like the weight is traveling from point 2 all the way down to point 3, and then point 1 is just latching onto that ground. Once we do that, you can see that my knees want to blow out to the sides. Fantastic, okay, because what that does, it creates hip stability through a thing called external rotation, and we know that external rotation is caused by our glutes, but what it's going to do is, obviously we're not rotating, but we are creating hip torque by simply just pushing the knees out. Okay, we're going to set up with our heels in line with the where it travels up and down. I was going to say the axis, but I don't know if that's right. Anyway, point is, where it travels up and down is where we want the heels to line up with. With our back, okay, we're going to be pulling our shoulder blades back and down, and we're going to be bracing at the top. Once we disrack, slightly forward, screw them in, and we're going to control that negative descent. Now you can see how low I can go and drive back up, okay? And there's really not too much of a stability issue here because it travels the one line, right? The bar can't go forward or back, it just goes up and down. So that's both the benefit and the hindrance of this exercise, is that if you don't know anything about that, you need to learn that. If you do, then you can use this exercise as a really great quad developer. All right, so screw your feet in, knees go out, okay, up and down, and just really get down low, punch these knees out. Now remember, we're going to push our knees out and drive up. Actually, you know what, thinking about it, you probably don't need to push your knees out for this particular exercise. Again, another reason why you should be learning how to do the basics of the squat first. And the reason being is because of the way we are falling down, the mechanics of it. We don't need to sit between our feet, okay? We're actually going to sit behind our feet. So mechanically, we could actually start with our legs in a lot tighter and almost in a deadlift position if you really wanted to dive into the quads or use this particular exercise on a deadlift day to over-exaggerate that quad drive or leg drive that you're already developing with the deadlift or conventional deadlift, maybe not so much a sumo. We're going to come down, we can sit nice and low, drive up nice and high. Okay, so you can see how of a lack of dependence on my hips and stability in my hamstring and potentially my posterior chain that this exercise has. So again, I'll come in, up and down. I could probably bring them right in close if I really wanted to. Knees out, drive up and down. And yeah, so that there, team, is how you want to go about doing your Smith machine squats. Remember, these very much are a quad dominant exercise designed to mimic hack squats and pendulum squats and any sort of real quad dominant exercise or quad dominant exercise, but quad isolator is what I'm trying to get at. But yeah, so please, for the love of God, understand its purpose first and its placement within your program before you go and use it as potentially a prime mover. I would not use this as a prime mover. I would use this as an accessory and a good little finisher and a good little burner, purely because of the lack of stability required. I would go and do your stability work, so things like normal squats, deadlifts, anything that requires your entire attention at the beginning, and then you can get a little lazier with exercises like this and also other machines because they're going to travel along the same line and very minimal risk of injury because of the fact that they're traveling up and down the same line. All right, team, that there is how you want to go about doing yourself a Smith machine squat.